If you've ever picked up a book and found it's full of surreal plants, unknown diagrams, zodiac rings, and a language which is completely undecipherable, you're likely looking at a copy of the Voynich Manuscript, the book that nobody can translate. This medieval text, which has been dated to the early 15th century, is one of the most mysterious books ever written, as even after hundreds of years, no one has been able to definitively decode it. So, for this entry into the archive, we'll take a look at this bizarre book and see what we can learn about its history and possible meaning. The name of the manuscript comes from Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book collector with very cool spectacles who first discovered the book at a college in Italy in 1912. He was, understandably, baffled by the bizarre language and images within, and countless experts have been trying to make sense of it ever since. Today, the original copy is stored at the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University. If you were to open the manuscript, you'd find that the first section of the mysterious text is dedicated almost entirely to plants. Most of these bizarre flora aren't ones you'd ever find in nature, and instead seem either completely made up or impossible hybrids of existing plants, with the roots of one species attached to the stem of another with the flowers of a third for good measure. Only a few drawings can actually be matched with real plant species, namely the wild pansy and a variation of maidenhair fern, but that's about all we've got. But it's not just the plant drawings within the manuscript that are mysterious. There are also strange cosmic wheels and astrological symbols decorating many of the pages, some of them with stylized suns or stars. These diagrams seem related to astrology or zodiac constellations, although many of them don't match up with familiar models. Astrology did play a role in plant gathering and medical procedures during the period in which the manuscript was likely written, so that could be the connection to the first section of the book, but it's hard to deduce much beyond that. Aside from some pretty weird art of people bathing in giant tubs I'm just going to skip over, the third section of the book has some art of what might be alchemical equipment, but as is the case with the zodiac wheels, a lot of the art really has very little resemblance to common alchemical equipment and symbols of the time. So what's going on here? Well, with most other books, you just read the words and figure out what's supposed to be going on, but that's easier said than done with the Voynich manuscript. The script it's written in is completely unknown. Indeed, there are some theories that that's because it's been put through an advanced cipher or code by the original author, scrambled up to a degree which makes it difficult to unravel. A lot of effort has been expended to try and crack it, including some promising recent work with AI, but despite decades of trying, most experts agree the majority of the book remains unreadable. Aside from a secret code, it's also possible the strange alphabet is an attempt to write down some spoken dialect that had no established writing system. If this is the case, the alphabet is completely unique and therefore almost impossible to decipher. Another distinct possibility, however, is that the book is filled with nonsense. The text has no meaning and was designed to mess with people, but we'll come back to that concept in a moment. Before we completely give up, if we can't understand the images or the language, do we at least have some idea where it came from? Well, once again, there are a lot of unknowns. There's a letter from the 16th century which suggests it was once owned by Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II, and was then passed on to his personal doctor Jacobus Synapsis, then to antique collector George Barish, then to a Bohemian doctor Jan Marek Marcy, then perhaps to the scholar Athanas Kircher, then maybe to priest Peter Jan Bex, who placed it in the collection where Voynich finally purchased it. Basically, the book's been all over. As for who the original author was among all this mess, some have theorized it might have been 13th century friar Roger Bacon, or 15th century Italian engineer Giovanni Fontana, who created some surreal artwork which does look somewhat similar. Others have theorized that the whole thing is a more modern hoax, and was possibly even fabricated by Voynich himself. Recent radiocarbon dating of the parchment, however, more or less rules this possibility out, as all tests have indicated the book is almost certainly from at least the early 15th century. So at least in that respect, the manuscript is authentic. But regardless of who the author is, perhaps the most important question is why? Why write this at all? It's possible that this is a genuine medical text, just written in a dialect we can't read, or it's possible it's something even stranger. But it's also not impossible the whole purpose of this book was to frustrate future generations. Even if the manuscript isn't a modern hoax, that doesn't rule out the possibility it's the medieval era equivalent of a prank. We sometimes think of past societies as perpetually serious, but medieval art is often ridiculous and seems designed to confound, so it's a distinct possibility the Voynich Manuscript was made for a similar purpose. And maybe the real author is just laughing at us from the beyond. In any case, it's a fascinating and mysterious book. There's additional research that has been done over the years, and I'd encourage you to delve in further if you're interested. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this entry into the archive, please lend your support, and like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon to stay up to date on all things curious. See you in the next video.